What's up, you guys? It is another liberated conversation, but in a whole new way. I'm Ruthina Porterfield, God's favorite, and I want you to meet him. So check it out. That's right. The Liberated Conversations with Ruthina podcast is now the Meet My God podcast. I want you to meet him. I am so excited about this one. You guys, now I'm still having liberated conversations, but they have a whole new focus, a specific purpose, a specific focus. It's all about introducing you to the one who loves you more than you can fathom. Listen, relationships are hard. We all know that. And you know what? Relationships are hard even with God. That's right. They're hard with him. Loving God sometimes is not easy. And I'm going to be having conversations with a whole lot of different people about the ups and the downs of that relationship. Now, while the conversations have a specific focus, which may have kind of shifted a little bit, a lot of stuff stays the same. For example, we will still be premiering episodes on all your favorite podcasting platforms on the 7th, 17th, and 27th of each month. On the 7th, we will still be having our Seeds of Devotion episode where our Seeds of Devotion small group, which by the way, it is super easy to join the Seeds of Devotion small group. Just go to my website, ruthinaporterfield.com, and you can join right there and just put in your email address. It's free. Just put in your email address and I'll make sure you get all the devotions as they come out once a month for each season. But yes, on the 7th of each month of the season, we will have our Seeds of Devotion episode where we will talk about the devotion that we were doing with our Seeds of Devotion small group. Join that on the website, ruthinaporterfield.com. And then, of course, on the 17th of each month, it is something familiar, our liberated conversation, our feature conversation with someone about the theme of the season. This season, we're going to be talking all about friendships. And so the feature conversation for on the 17th of each month of the season will be about friendships for this first season. And on the 27th, we're still having our podcasters tea conversation with another podcaster about friendships this season and for the next few seasons, whatever it is that we're focusing on. I am so excited to be talking to another podcaster about that. But right now, it is about our Seeds of Devotion episode. And of course, we did a devotion all about friendships because that's what we're focusing on right now. And another thing that is still the same is my devotion partner. And I'm super excited to still have her here. Her name is Erin Latansky. Hello, Erin.
Hey, Ruthina. Good to see you.
It's good to see you too. I am so happy that you're joining me in this transition.
Me too.
So yeah, we did a devotion all about friendships. And this season we're just focusing on relationships. But for this particular section of the season, we're going to be talking about friendships and living the way that we live. I haven't been in California forever. I've been in 3 different states, which means I've had 3 sets of friends.
Wow.
And yeah, when you think about it that way, it kind of makes a difference. Kind of looks at it's a good way to look at where you were in your life based on the types of friends you had in the different places where you've lived.
Wow.
Is what I thought about when I was doing this devotion.
That's cool. Yeah.
So yeah, what did you think about this one?
Well, it challenged me. So, I mean, straight out the gate, just overall, I would say I hadn't thought about friendship in this way before. And, day number 1 just kind of starts off strong with like, what does God say friendship is? And, he calls us friend, and that what kind of traits would you see in a friendship that glorifies God? And I'll be honest, I felt really challenged, and I felt like, I don't know if my friendships meet that standard. So it's like something to work toward, and I think, and then I also thought about, well, what does that mean for my relationship with God when he says that, you are my friends if you do what I ask, if you're obedient, and how that translates into human friendships, because it's not the same dynamic, obviously. So I was meant to do this, but like I wanted to do like a Hebrew word study of like the word friend and the way God uses it with us versus friendship, like in Proverbs or something.
Did you do that, or is that something you're going to do later
I'm going
on?
to do, yeah, I didn't have a
Let
chance
me
to do it
know.
yet, but yeah.
Let me know because I'm interested. When I saw that in one of your comments, I was like, "Oh, that's that's a good one." And yeah, when there's a specific scripture that He says, "Now I call you friends," it's like, "Oh snap!" And then after doing this, it's like, "This is what you mean by friend." Okay, when you call me friend, you want all of these different things, but I might be getting too deep in the devotion already.
No, it's good. Yeah, no, it's so challenging. It was like, yeah, really a lot
Yeah.
of growth.
So let's go ahead and get right into day one. So day one was kind of just kind of introducing us to friendships. The name, we didn't even say the name of the devotion.
It's called friend-ish.
Friend-ish. So it kind of makes these earthly friendships seem friend-ish compared to what God friendship is, huh?
Mm, yeah.
So so day one really talked about what God's view of friendship is versus what the world or the human um, perspective of what friendship is, right? Kind of
Mhm.
broke that down and made sure we understand that God sees friendship different than the way we do,
Mm,
which we should have known. I think there are a lot of things we kind of take for granted.
mm,
And that's something I just never thought about. When I saw things like God, considered Abraham a friend
mhm,
and he called me a friend. Not that I was thinking that God could be a friend to me like some human or whatever, but I didn't think his expectation of friend was so high.
same. Yeah, that shocked me.
Yeah, that kind of it almost scared me, to be honest with you.
Same. Yeah, me too. I was
Okay.
like, I don't know if I can live up to that, Jesus. Like, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, and I think the way the devotion is written, it's good because it makes you go like, well, counterfeit friendship or maybe something that's not quite as deep or something that doesn't hit, loyalty and these different traits that maybe God is wanting in friendship with us. It made me think about what standard do I hold my friendships to and how can I do that realistically? And how do I sort of I don't it's just tricky. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
really tricky to think through. Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of scary. I want to because to me it was just an introduction
Mhm.
because day 2 kind of lays out what it is,
Mm.
uh, his standards.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to go ahead and jump into day 2
Okay.
because when when the devotion started laying out this whole thing of God expects complete and total loyalty. And his loyalty is in one of our devotions, we talked about loyalty, if you remember. We talked about loyalty. I can't remember what devotion it was, but we
Mhm.
talked about being loyal, right? Yeah, loyalty for us is very different from what loyalty with him is.
Mm.
And I'm like, I mean, I'm loyal to you, right? Like, I like you come first, but he always has said that. The stuff that we read isn't different from what he said all along.
Mhm.
God wants to be first. He expects to be first because he's God. So
Mhm.
that means he wants to be your number one friend. His his friendship with you comes before anybody else's.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
I mean, I think I mean, I'm not married. I'm single, so I think like
Me too, girl.
like I'm dating, but I'm not married, and so it's like, well, I've always had God as my number one friend. I think that times when I've been in a relationship, just to like make an analogy, is like it's easy to put that person first as like your go-to friend or your go-to person, or like when you have a best friend. Like I've had a lot of close friends over the course of my life, and that I would consider a best friend, and um, I've expected too much out of them sometimes that you can't expect from a person. And so I think God can always meet those, even though he's not sitting right there across from you. But it's like sometimes you expect things out of human friendships that like you can't. So it's almost like he expects more, but also we can expect more out of him than we would from another human.
That's so funny. When you talk about expectations of friend, it's so weird. As soon as you were talking about that, something from childhood popped in my head.
Mhm.
Because my expectations for friendships, now that I think about it in that way, has always been kind of low, and not necessarily. I expect them to be horrible people or unloyal or anything like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
But because I'm so self-reliant and so independent and sometimes stubbornly so,
Mm.
I tend to only call my friends or trust my friends in desperate need. And
Oh.
I think it's because I remember this one specific incident as a child where I had what I would have called a best friend. I had to be in like eighth grade maybe,
Mhm.
and it was a bullying incident which I actually edited from the book. But it was a bullying incident where a bunch of
Mm.
kids were like throwing stuff at me, that type of like stuff, like people were throwing things at me, and
Oh.
she joined in on it. And my thought process was, well, if friends are like that, I'm good. Like I don't need that, you know? And so
Mhm.
my I think oh, my spirit just, because my expectations lowered as a
Mhm.
result for friendship, and so and affected how much I depend on people.
Mhm.
I think it has transferred into my relationship with God, where I don't want to have to depend on him either
Oh,
as a
interesting.
friend. Oh my gosh, this is answering a question that I just asked God, that I've
Mhm.
been dealing with God for the last few days, because one of
Mhm.
the things that I've been back and forth with him about is, God, this whole idea of depending on you to provide and depending on you to do what you said you're going to do, I feel like it comes at a cost because you don't do things the way that I want you to do them.
Mhm.
And he's like, wait, trusting me should not mean fear. Trusting me and depending on me should not come with fear.
Amen.
Like, I was like, well, darn. And I think, oh, in my spirit, I'm feeling this. And I think his thing with me that he's saying is, you need to stop putting me in the same category with the humans in your life.
Whoa, that's huge, Ruthina.
I'm God.
Yeah,
Whoo, take a breath.
that's huge.
Whoo, I will edit this moment out because I need to take a breath.
Yeah.
Whoo, wow.
Wow, I feel that really strongly.
Whoo. Girl, how often do we do that?
Every day. For me,
God.
it's like if I really saw, yes.
How many times have we taken him off his throne and somehow minimized who he is to what he created? He's he's not a man that he, oh my God, that now takes a whole, he's not a man that he should lie,
Mhm.
nor a son of man that he should repent. That takes on a whole new meaning at this moment, in this moment.
Totally. I
That
feel,
takes on a whole new meaning.
yeah.
He's not a man that he should lie. Good Lord. Okay.
Yeah.
I wish this was a television show because I need a commercial break so bad.
Well, I'll say like after my last breakup and then like sometimes when like friendships end, I have a hard time trusting God of like letting go and I've done everything I can do or say that, or that he's asked me to, and then things just still dissolve or whatever, because I'm not a quitter. I have a hard time trusting him that he, first of all, that I'm hearing him right, and then second of all, that he'll provide for me what I need, whether it's a different friend or different community or a job, or if he has a relationship or marriage for me, that he would provide that. And the thing is, there's the reason, that he had the Israelites like stop and think back about everything that he did all the time is because I think we forget, and that was there to remind us, like, we can't forget what he's already done. And that's what I do in those moments that does help bring me back as I go, what have you done before? Who do I know you to be? And that helps. But man, Ruthina, you just opened up a landmine of thoughts there.
Wow. I'm going to go completely off my notes. I was going to do one thing, but I'm just going to shift on to day 3 because we talked about in that particular day who we choose to befriend.
Oh, yes.
Which was a challenging day because I thought I was good. I really did. I thought I was good. I thought I was good, Erin, because specifically when I moved to LA, for probably, I've been here for 15 years. I'll say for 13 of those, none of my friends were believers. None of them. And I'm talking about my closest friends. And I thought, hey, that means I'm out here like ministering and stuff. And then for a moment I thought, and then I thought through and I was like, well, I've had one person that was sort of disabled, but wasn't like it was just, I'm sitting here pumping myself up. And it's like, how many people have you dismissed on sight because of your own standards versus God's standards, which is he loves everyone because he created everyone. So I got checked. What do you think?
Same experience. So I think that I've had times in my life where I've worked in different capacities with different types of people than myself, and I feel like I've made friendships with them. But I'm in a season, like many of us, where I'm working from home, and people are different from me that I work with in classes or on a project or for my day hustle, my seed business with my mom. But they're not so drastically different from me that I would, like you said, dismiss them on sight. So they're different than me, and there's something there that's cool. But I feel really convicted about like what you just said. Like if I look at someone and I just dismiss them and like I could never be friends with that person. And then you touched on something else, Ruthina, about our closest friends and if they're Christians or not, or people who aren't believers. And I think that one's tough for me too, because I think my pride would want to think of myself as like, oh, I'm accepting of everyone. And so I have all kinds of people that believe all kinds of things in my circles. But then when I get down to it, it's like, are they the people that God is saying to be in those circles, regardless of what they believe? And then also, because I've had to go through this recently with a fine-tooth comb and go, what is God saying? Why do I align myself with people that maybe he didn't ask me to, or actually even sort of was trying to steer me away from? Not that I think I'm better than them, just like God's like, your stuff and their stuff doesn't mix. It's not going to help you grow. It does not going to help you feel my love. It's not going to help you move forward in the world. But yet I feel like, oh, this makes me feel good to befriend this person, or maybe it's a reciprocal, we're receiving something from each other, or maybe it's not even, it's just me giving or them giving. Even so, it's like, what does God say about it? And then also my closest friends, non-Christians and Christians, I love them all dearly. And then, but also for a long time, my closest circle, I didn't have very many Christians in it also. And God's like, what's up with that? Like, why not have the people closest to you have the things that are closest to your heart and have to do with me, that you can talk about it with them? And I think I come from a very like I've been to a series of churches over the like my lifetime where it's like focus on outreach and reaching out and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, that is fantastic. And that is the mission of Jesus. It's good news for everybody. Right. But like, what about your heart, and who do you trust that with? And it's okay to be like, the person that I tell everything to, maybe, or almost everything, is someone that I also know thinks this way with me. Not that
Yeah.
better or they're, you know what I'm saying, but it's like I felt so weird about that I would even entertain that idea of being like, yeah, that's okay if that's how that happened,
Yeah. No, I feel you. I tend to have friend categories. I actually have, and I might have said this before, actually have what I called BAF versus BFF. I have a best acting friend who I love dearly, and she is my best acting friend because while we talk about a whole lot of things, our conversations specifically about acting are far beyond any other conversation that I've had with anyone else, because uh, our dreams align very
Mm-hmm.
succinctly. What we want align very succinctly.
Yep.
What I hear God saying now is it's just that my purpose is different from hers. But we're able to discuss the pursuit in
Mm-hmm.
a very deep way
Mm-hmm.
where I don't feel like I'm crazy and she doesn't feel like she's crazy for doing what we do.
Right.
So I have that. And then I just have categories. I do want to say this regarding when God tells you this is a perfect time, when God tells you, yeah, that friendship is nice, but no.
Mm-hmm.
um, the first time I learned this was, I think I was 19, and I had been friends, and I talk about this friendship in the book,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't talk about how it really, really ended. Um, but I was friends with these two girls who were my best friends. They were there for me through the toughest time of my life. And for years, for 3 years. And then all of a sudden, God was like, okay, that's it. They're done. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, I was like, wait, you mean like now it's over? He's like, yeah, it's over. And initially I thought it was just because they went to college and I went to college, and God was like, no, it's over. Like, you're going somewhere else. I'm taking you somewhere else. And that friendship is over. And I remember, Aaron, I tried to hold on to that joker. I tried to hold on. Um, and I ended up getting burned like a mug, like burned. Um, in a way that I never expected from one of the girls. And I was like, and God was like, I told you let this friendship go a long time ago. Like, what is it
Yep.
what do you need? It was it was one of those lessons that I don't want to learn again. So when God tells me, okay, yeah, that friendship is over, I have no problems. When I tell you no problems, I have no problems going, so we're done. Like, like I have no issues because that friendship cost me too much.
Mm.
And yeah, it's about whether, and I think that is into the next day, into the fourth day,
Mm-hmm.
um, about how friendships are supposed to serve you, what friendship is supposed to look like,
Mm-hmm.
um, how, what are the different things that godly friendships are supposed to do?
Yeah.
What are the different things? What is kind of the outline? And we'll get into that in day 4. Before we get into that, I want to talk about the sponsor of the Seeds of Devotion episode, which is Maybell and Company Seeds and Such,
Yeah.
which is also Erin's company,
Mm-hmm.
which I, shameless plug, yes, her company. I love that it is sponsored by this particular company because our purposes align.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole purpose of Seeds of Devotion episodes, I want us to share with each other so we can learn from each other and we can grow together. And is that somewhere in the line of what Maybell and Company Seeds is such believe?
Yeah. I mean, it's about sharing with people how-to content, with gardening, and it's to take away the intimidation out of it and to encourage people to build gardening community. And we want to engage with people, answer gardening questions. We offer specific flower seeds from our home grown small batch organic garden, pesticide free in Central California. My mom and I run the business, and exciting things. It's the end of summer, beginning of fall now. The gardens are transitioning. So this is a really cool time. I know I used to feel sad that summer was ending. I actually don't now. It's fascinating to see how nature is preparing for winter. And,
Wow.
it's really just a cool spiritual lesson. But anywho, on YouTube, we have 2 new videos up in the last 2 weeks. We have one about zinnias and how to harvest the seeds from those beautiful flowers. And then one that we posted yesterday, it's about pruning hydrangeas and the leaf care, and then also how you can trim and cut the flower heads and save those for dried arrangements through the fall and winter, and then keep that beautiful flower in your home. So go ahead and head over to YouTube if you'd like to check that out. We're also on Instagram at Home with Pamela. And then, on our website, there's a link to everything. So our website is just our name, Maybell and Company Seeds and such. But there's a lot of fun stuff going on. We've got cards and seeds and lavender sachets, and we'd love to connect with you just about your garden also.
Yeah, we sent last season, we sent off a few of the lavender sachets to our wonderful guests, who I hope they love them. So, and we're going to be doing that again this season as well.
Yay!
So I'm super excited about it. So you guys, please check them out. Please check them out. And I'm telling you, at the very least, watch the YouTube channel so you can learn something.
We make it really easy, and just something about getting your fingers into the dirt and being out in the sun. And even if it's a cloudy day, just being outside, I feel closer to God when I'm in the garden.
Yeah. So in day 4, going ahead and jumping in.
Yeah.
In day 4, I loved that in day 4, she broke down what the friendships look like, right? Mm-hmm. So friends, she listed, it was 1, 2, 3, 4 different things. She listed friends should deepen our joy. They should be there to battle with us. Mm. They should carry us through our weakness, and they should just be there. They should just be there. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if this was the day that I put this comment, but I really resonated with these particular ones because one of my issues that I question myself on friendship for is because my friendships don't necessarily look like a lot of other people's. My closest friends, honestly, I may speak with them. I have one friend that I speak to a couple times a month. Mm-hmm. One of my closest friends, I may speak to her several times a year. My best acting friend, we speak, of course, the pandemic affected everything, but we speak a lot texting because our age, we have a significant age difference. She's a millennial, I'm Gen X. So she will text and email, message, and all of that stuff a lot. So we communicate that way. For me, because I'm Gen X and I prefer to talk on the phone, we might talk on the phone or do a face online thing maybe every few months. Mm. And I always thought, God, am I not being a good friend? Am I not there for people? And I read this and it just made me really look at, okay, I just want to make sure that I'm being a good friend. Mm. I'm grateful that I do have people that I can call on in those dark times. And one of the biggest things I've learned is here's a category of friends that I have, having friends that I know can get a prayer through.
Oh, yes.
where when I say pray, they will actually pray, and not just pray, but God will actually listen to them. Like he will actually say, you know what? I'll go ahead and do it for her. Because I love you. Okay, yeah, I'll go. I got you. Don't worry about
Mhm.
it. Like I appreciate having those. I've just begun to understand the power of those of praying friends.
Yeah.
So
I'm like getting teary-eyed because I have a few friends who, when I text them or call them and I say, this is happening and I need prayer, they will, it makes me emotional just to talk about it.
oh, I
They will
feel you,
answer
girl.
right back and they're like, praying for you right now. And I have a friend who we went to middle school together, and
Aw.
she is one of my closest friends. We don't talk every day, but she actually works with us on our business, and so now we're talking more often. But even so, a month or two or three or four could pass and we would pick up the phone and it's like no time has passed.
Me
That's not like that
too.
with everybody, but with her it happens to be. And then yeah, sometimes it's just like that, so
Me too. I have those friends, like my best friends, which I have, I'll say like three. Veronica, like my best friends are the ones that I can pick up the phone after a few months and be like, hey, what's going on? Now, because it's been a few months, we'll be on the phone for a few hours, but
yeah.
but we'll have those few hours and then girl, I'll talk to you later, and later may be another couple months.
Yeah.
But it's okay. And in between those months, I know that if something pops off, I can call them and say, hey, or even text them and say, hey. I do have a group of friends that I don't even call them friends. We're more like a family. There's a college group of us. One of them is one of our regulars in the Seeds of Devotion. She wasn't in this one, but she's a part of that little group. We are sort of kind of family.
Hmm.
And it's for us, it's not, we don't even call each other friends. It's brother, sister. Hey, bro, like, hey, sis, what are you doing? Like, it's so far beyond that. And we can talk with each other and hang out with each other. When I went home for my book launch, one of my sisters, I stayed with her for part of the stay, and I hadn't talked to her in like 3 months. And it was just, hey, I'm coming through. She's like, okay, you're coming here, right? And I'm like, I guess that's where I'm coming. She's like,
That's
okay.
really
And
cool.
that's it. Like, it wasn't even a thing. It
That's
wasn't even a thing.
beautiful.
So you appreciate those friendships, and they are people who can carry me through the weakness and will be there for me. I
Yeah.
have people who deepen the joy. I have friends that I will laugh and roll on the floor with, and we feel no embarrassment whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You gotta have friends like that.
Yeah. I would say for me, my comedy and improv circles of people that I do that type of thing with have a very special place in my heart because laughter is so liberating
Yes.
for me and for many people. Humor and laughter is good medicine. All of that. And so some of them are believers, most of them are not, as far as I know. But regardless, it's a amazing compatriot sort of feeling. And then I did want to touch on something more serious, and I don't know if
Yes.
maybe this is the Holy Spirit kind of telling me to bring it up, but there is something that happens where sometimes in friendships, a friend that can be really close, and I I'm asking God, like, have I done this because I want to make it right, but like we can get almost like codependent on a friend to be like the person that sort of picks us up when we fall down. And so praying through what that means, relying on friends in a healthy way. But and I think I've been thinking through this. I've been talking with another friend about this in her life as well, and just kind of thinking like the difference between a healthy and an unhealthy amount of dependence on a friend would be like if you feel like you're stuck in the same emotional place, or that they are, or that things don't change and there's just sort of no hope as sort of like moving forward. Because something I think particularly in like female friendships, I'll just say, like, from my perspective and my experience, is like uh you can rely on each other so much because life is hard, right? And God is not sitting right in front of you. And then you have your church community and you have friends. And then sometimes you have one or two people who you just really pour your heart out to. And so I'm not sure if I have the answer, but just to think about and to consider, like, am I relying on this person in a healthy or unhealthy way? And what does that mean for me personally? What is God like saying to me? I don't know if that makes sense, but something that's
No, it does. It definitely does. One of the reasons why he told me to get rid of one of those the friendships that I talked about earlier when where
Mhm,
he told me to move on was a codependency that was very unhealthy. And
mhm.
I'm very specific about that when I write about it. I keep mentioning my book. I'm just plugging it. You guys
You
go to
should.
liberatingbook.com, buy the book, and I'll show it to you right now. Like there it is. There it is.
Yay!
Go to liberatedbook.com and get that, cop that for me, please. Thank you. But yeah, no, I talk about it a lot because it's such a serious issue. Because I think when it comes to codependency in relationships, which is going to be our last devotion, in relationships, people talk about it, but people don't talk about codependency in friendships.
And we need to. Yeah.
And we need to talk about that. I can tell you what it looked like for me. It looked like me being on the phone constantly all night with this young woman. It looked like I didn't want to be around anyone else because I thought that no one could be the friend that this girl could be for me.
Mhm,
No one could be there for me like she could because only she understood me.
mhm,
Only she understood what I was going through. Um, I can feel that this sounds familiar to someone as you're listening to it. I can feel
mhm,
it. I can feel it. I can feel it. Um, no one could do what I needed the way that she could psychologically and emotionally.
mhm,
Um, and so, because no one could be the friend that she could, I didn't feel the need to have any other friends
mm,
at all. I had other little friends that were cool, but it here's what it looked like physically. If someone else asked me to hang out, it was always, you know what? Let me call this friend because she'll probably want to go. It looked like when I when I went out of town. I remember going out of town one time, and I went into a store and I saw something for myself, and then I saw something that I thought would look great on her,
mhm,
and I completely forgot about what was for me. And I remember
mhm,
coming back home from out of town with all this stuff for her. Like it was such a cool, and it was me, and I justified it by saying, "Oh, that's just me thinking of her first. Like that's just me thinking, like, do you know, being kind, completely putting myself aside,
mhm.
making choices where she came first. I may have wanted to do one thing and she said,
Yes.
you know what, let's do this. And all of a sudden, what I wanted to do either wasn't as good as what she wanted to do, or I stifled it because I thought this friendship was too important to do what I want. If you're putting yourself second to a friendship, mm,
Yes, 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 because this is like, so what I have experienced this, and it's heartbreaking because, as Christians we're taught, um consider others' needs above your own, but I do not think that that means put their needs above your own to your detriment.
right.
Right? And so I did not understand that for a long time, and I'm only really starting to completely have more freedom about that, because even to the point where I'll make decisions based on, this is going to upset this person, so I better not do that. But it's
Mm,
a decision that I need to make to take care of myself.
girl,
And
girl.
I'm passionate about this because it's not clear. It's not clear sometimes, and I I'll leave it at that for now because I need some more space from it to share more. But
No,
I
I
appreciate what
understand.
you shared, and it's really, I think people are. I'm praying that some people get free and think about it and hear something from God about it.
Yeah, it is so imperative to examine your friendships on a regular basis. What may have started out healthy may not necessarily be healthy anymore. What may have seemed like a great friendship may not necessarily be good. And this is how cunning Satan is. This is how cunning he is. It will seem as if this is the best friendship that you can have, and like no one else, like you're not going to get this anywhere else.
Hmm.
You're not going to get this anywhere else because everyone's different. Who can be this person for you? Because this is this person, you know? And that's what it feels like. And your spirit is so important to be in tune with your spirit and the Holy Spirit within you, and just talk to God, which goes back to probably day 1 or 2 when he's like, I am the best friend that you have. I am. And because I am the best friend that you have, trust me on your other friendships.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
Totally.
trust me to let you know when one is good and one is not. God,
Yes.
I wish we could spend, oh my gosh, it is, people don't talk about dependency and friendship enough because they don't understand that it is an issue.
It is, and I think Satan's game, is like the enemy is like you're not going to find something better. He does this after a relationship ends as well. And the
Yeah.
verse that God has been giving me the last few months is forget the former things. See, I'm doing a new thing. I'm making streams in the desert. And when I probably brought this up last time because it's been for a while now, but it's not that what he did before for the Israelites wasn't good. What he's saying is, you thought that was great. I'm going to do something even more amazing. And we have this fear of letting go of what we've already had to embrace the new thing. And
Yes.
also, really quick before I forget, it's like I used to think that if I didn't want to be close with someone anymore, that was being unkind or unloving. And like that's not true either. Sometimes
No.
you get to know a friend better, just like dating. You get to know them and you're like, oh, we don't have as much in common as I thought, or like they changed or whatever, and that's okay. And then maybe for another time we can put a pin in this, but like, how do you communicate that? How do you do that? How do you do that with love but truth? You want to be loving, and the range goes from ghosting someone to like having a really hard non-sugar coated conversation that like rips their heart out for no reason. So it's like, how
No,
does
it's not for no reason. Hold up. Check your language. Check your language.
tell me?
It's not for no reason.
Right, right,
It's
right.
never for no reason.
Yeah.
And I can tell you the way to do it is no matter how you do it, it's going to be a difficult conversation because I've had them.
Yeah, very
I've
true.
had them. You just got to bite the bullet. Pray before you have the conversation. Get your words together. Me, I actually had to write them down so that I could literally be on the phone and be reading a card because I wanted to stick to what it was that I needed to say,
Hmm.
because those codependent friendships are usually with people when you're letting go of it because you're the one who's codependent. That means that usually this is the dominant person. So whatever you say to them, they're going to come back with something. And you need to be able to either come back with something, or more importantly and more strategically, let them come back with something and go, okay, if that's what you feel, but I got to do what God tells me to do, and let it go. There's no easy way to end this. There's no sweet way, nice way, cool way to end it.
Mm-mm.
You just end it and you
And
walk away.
how did they respond in those situations, Ruthina?
Stink. I mean, I don't know how else. I mean,
Yeah.
um, I did it because what ended up the first time I did it, it was because I did it with the same person a couple of times because I thought, oh, well, maybe this much time has passed. Let me let them back in. And God was like, really? Really? Um, the
Mhm.
first time I did it, we were very young. We were 19. And she was like, I don't understand what you're saying, and it doesn't make sense. And you're only, this is one of the things that she said. I remember this. She said, "You're only doing this because we haven't been able to hang out in a while. That's We haven't been together like we usually are, and
Mhm.
that's why you're doing this." They will try to flip it on you. The next time I did it, we were much older, and it was, "I can't believe that you're saying this. This is not the person I know." You know what your response is? "You're right. It's not. I'm different. I've changed." Um, and it ended in a way, I remember it, I didn't hang up on her because it didn't get loud or boisterous or anything, but she was so shocked that she got silent, and there was nothing else for me to say. And I said, "I gotta go." Like, I mean, I have to go. And she said, "I can't believe you're doing this." And I gotta go. Bye. And that was it.
Mm.
And I actually wrote a blog about it. I'll send you the blog. I'll send you
Okay.
the blog post about letting friends go. And I I compared it to being on a bus. You're driving a bus, and on your bus are people that you've let into your life. And at some points, at some stops, people have to get off. And sometimes you have to kick them off the bus. And sometimes you'll be going along and you'll hit another stop somewhere, and that person is at the stop. Do you open the door and let them back onto the bus,
Mm.
knowing that they could cause issues while you're driving on your way to your destination?
Mhm.
I'll send you the blog post. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a difficult conversation anyway you put it. There's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting when, for me, I think, and this is kind of a tangential issue, and I'll just say it real quickly, but like when you have a codependent friendship and then you begin to set boundaries to try to shore it up to bring it back to a place that's healthier, and the response is not received very well, then and you continue to try to do that, and then that causes a lot of friction because there's I'm willing to put in effort to move it in a healthier direction if that's what the Lord is leading me to do, and I will die on that hill trying unless he says, yes, it's okay to just stop trying now. And so I found myself in that position a couple times as well, and that's interesting too, is like, when you're trying to not just maybe God doesn't say it's time to peace out, but he says, yeah, hold your ground on this, hold your ground on this, and then at some point it either becomes healthier or they don't like it and they're out.
Mm, yeah, I think the last time I ran into this issue was, it wasn't necessarily a codependent. Well, it may have been, I don't know. But we ran into an issue over a social issue that that I don't know how she did not get where I stood, but
Hmm.
whatever.
Hmm.
And we had a discussion that turned into a blow up, and that got disrespectful.
Hmm.
And we tried to reconcile it, but because she couldn't quite understand that it wasn't about a social issue, it was about disrespect.
Hmm.
The friendship is, I'm praying that it's not over. God, I
Yeah.
pray it's not over, but it is definitely strained. It is definitely strained. But Aaron, I have gotten to the place now, and this might be where we end. I have gotten to the place now where I am not sacrificing my relationship with the one who loves me more than I can fathom. I'm not going to sacrifice that for a friendship that's temporal. I'm not going to do it. If God said that friendship is over, it's over,
Hmm.
because I trust him. He definitely has a reputation in this area. You said this before about how when he says I'm doing a new thing, and how God will replace friendships. When I let go of that friendship early on in life, that's when I met that group of friends that I talked to you about that are now like family. And I learned, oh snap, like friendship is a whole lot better. Like this is what friendship is. Like this is it. That was cute and it did what it was supposed to do at the time. But this is what this is. So God will definitely replace it. And also, I want to say this too. There are times when a friendship will end for a period of time, and you gotta let God do what He does. Because I had a high school friendship that kind of just ended naturally, and then 15 years later, I reunited with that friend, and we hit like nothing happened, and we are just as good of friends, if not better, because we're adults, as we were when we were in high school. She's actually one
Wow.
of my best friends
Oh,
today. Shout out to Veronica.
yay.
And shout out to COS, who I was talking about. But yeah, we are just as good. But it was a 15-year gap.
Mm,
And it was because the friendship ended. God said, that's it. Nothing bad happened, nothing horrible. God just said, no, you don't hunt anybody down. We're moving on for now.
mm-hmm.
And later on, God brought that person back into my life and me back into her life. You got to just trust. It goes back to day one, day two. God is the best friend
Mm-hmm.
that you can have. So trust
Yeah.
Him with your earthly friendships.
Ruthina, do you mind if I pray for friendships for our listeners and for our small group partners and for
Yes,
us?
girl. Yes, yes, yes. Let me just say that for those of you who are listening, if you have prayer requests, leave them in the show notes. Shoot me an email. The email will be in the show notes as well, or go to my website, ruthinaporterfield.com, where I'm telling you, we will pray for you because it's what we do. We will be praying for you. And if you want to join the small group, go to the website too.
Yeah.
Please pray for friendships.
Yes. Heavenly Father, this gift of friendship that you have created and designed for us to enjoy sometimes is so full of peace and it's life giving, and other times it's so challenging and can become unhealthy or cause a lot of pain. I pray right now for everyone that's listening and for ourselves as well, that you would bring joy and health and wholeness to all of our relationships, specifically friendships. God, show us what it means to be friends with you and what that looks like for how we can be friends with other people in a way that pleases you and brings life and wholeness to us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Awesome first episode for Meet My God podcast. Love it. Erin, I am so excited for the next podcast episode, next devotion that we're going to
Yeah,
be
me
doing,
too.
because that is the one where we're jumping into partner, male, female, love, and all that jazz, which I'm sure people want to talk about.
Yeah.
So we're going to be looking for devotions for that. If you have any suggestions for devotions, let us know. And we will let you know when that next devotion is coming out. Thank you, Erin.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And I'll see you in November.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.